Hey, what's up guys, Reed here and welcome to ReadReborn. In today's video I'm doing a guide on one of the new dungeons released in patch 3.2, the Antitower. To get into this dungeon you need to be a minimum item level of 180 or above, and it's unlocked through the main story once you reach Matoya's cave. Personally, I really enjoyed the Antitower. It looks absolutely amazing, it's got some great music and it's just like a bit weird. Like you walk along the ceiling, there's things that are upside down. Yeah, just a really cool setting for a dungeon, and in this video I'm going to go over the tactics for the bosses. So after taking out some monsters you'll arrive at the first boss room and you'll be facing Zero Rogo. A regular thing to look out for in this fight is two random players will be marked with like a small circular AoE called Water Bomb. All they have to do is just dodge that, and after they drop there'll be like two sort of circular orbs, water orbs or whatever, left on the floor, and I would recommend standing away from those because when they explode they do damage to anyone in close proximity. So twice or maybe three times in the fight the boss is going to go into the middle and turn two players into toads. If this happens to you, just keep running because he drops regular circular AoEs on you, and he also does around 800 damage like a second on that player. So that damage plus the AoEs is probably going to end up with you dying, so just keep running to dodge the AoEs, and also if you didn't see there was an ad that the remaining players have to kill during that as well. So a final thing to look out for is Toy Hammer. The boss is just going to hit the tank in place and cause concussion, and then constantly do damage to the tank through an AoE, and all you have to do is just leech or Isuna the tank so they can move out the way of the AoE and stop taking damage, and then they can move back in place once the AoE is stopped. So that is everything in this fight. Just remember to dodge the AoEs, run away from the water balls, constantly run if you're turned into a toad, free the tank whilst he's under the effect of concussion from Toy Hammer, and also just take out the odd ad that spawns. But that's everything in this fight, and once you've killed the boss you can continue with the dungeon. So after killing a few more monsters you are going to arrive at the second boss and face Ziggy. So a first AoE to look out for is Jittering Glare. This is just a frontal cone that's easily avoidable. For this I just recommend that the tank faces the boss away from the group so it doesn't affect them, and if the tank's close to the boss then he can easily dodge. So next up, and the main mechanic of this fight, is the boss is going to drop some rocks called Stardust, and as you can see the longer they go without being killed the bigger they grow in size. So basically you just have to take these out as quick as possible to reduce the size of the AoE that they drop, and once you killed all of them they'll stop and then they'll explode, so make sure you're completely away from all of them, and then after that they've exploded you can go back to the boss and continue with the fight. This leads on to the next mechanic. After the Stardust rocks have exploded, one player is going to be targeted and there's going to be a tether. And basically if you're tethered you just have to run behind a rock and pass the tether over. If it explodes and tethers back onto the player like so, you have to just run to the next rock and do the exact same again, but be careful because the rocks do explode, so I would recommend after passing the tether over you just walk backwards so you don't get hit by the exploding rock. Final move the boss does is Gyrating Glare. This is just a raid wide move that does around 5,000 damage to every player, so healers just need to be aware of that and heal up afterwards. So that is pretty much it guys for this fight. As you can see towards the end it does get pretty packed, so just remember to focus down the Stardusts as quick as possible. At the end ads do start spawning in as well, but just remember to take down the Stardusts, pass the tether on and then move away before it explodes. Healers need to be aware of Gyrating Glare and tanks need to be aware of Jittering Glare. But anyways, after you've followed all of these steps, you would have killed the boss and then can continue with the dungeon. So after killing a few more monsters, you're going to arrive at the final boss room and possibly face your worst nightmare. These creepy dolls are Calcabrina, and this is the final boss in the Antitower. So for the first phase of this fight there's no attacking from any of the dolls. They just do like AoEs. As you can see they all spin around pretty creepily and then do like an AoE in a certain direction, and all you have to do is just dodge these while taking them out. Sort of quite hard for melee people as they move quite often, so you have to follow them and keep taking them out, but they don't attack, so just keep DPSing them down until you've killed every single one. After you killed the last one, you guessed it, they're all going to merge together and make one big creepy baby. This is like the main part of the fight and they all join together to make Calcabrina, and this is what you have to do. So throughout this fight one random player is going to be targeted by like a purple eye. If this happens to you all you have to do is just turn around because it's going to try and like stun you or whatever, but after it's finished you can just turn around and get back onto the boss. just another thing to mention, if you see another player that has this cast by them, you also have to turn around if you're anywhere in the area, because you'll get confused and take damage as well. So next up, Calcabrina is going to cast Brace, and basically this is just very similar to Ravana, the Seeing Wings, etc. It's going to block off every single direction other than in front for you to attack. If you attack, you're going to take damage, so you can only attack in the certain direction that is like not blocked off. So soon after this, and another move to look out for in this fight, is Calcabrina is going to cast Dollhouse and turn 2 random players into dolls. When this happens, those 2 players will be stunned, and they'll just walk around doing AoEs, and what the 2 spare players have to do is they just have to take those or kill the dolls as quick as possible to return them back to like the normal players. And whilst this is all going on, Calcabrina is just casting Slapstick, constantly dealing around 600 damage a second, so the ads need to be taken out as quick as possible so you can return them back to normal and get back onto the boss. Anyway guys, that is everything you need to know for this fight. Once you know the mechanics, they just get repeated until you take the boss down, but just to recap, dodge the AoEs at the start, turn around if you're targeted by the purple eye, attack from the correct way when Brace is up, and take down the dolls as quick as possible when players get turned into them. But anyways, after you repeat all these, you would have killed the final boss of the Antitower and then completed the dungeon. Anyway guys, that is my guide over. I hope you found it useful and helpful, and if you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe for more Final Fantasy XIV videos in the future. And if you're a new person to this channel, feel free to check out some of my other videos.